A fiery moment at the White House today. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders fighting back against the media.
As far as I know, I'm the first press secretary in the history of the United States that's required Secret Service protection.
We'll have more on that in a moment. But first, President Trump is back on the campaign trail tonight in Pennsylvania as a familiar foe emerges to counter his message in the midterms. Former President Obama announcing he's planning to stump for Democrats this fall. If it's anything like 2016, the battle between the two heavyweights is sure to get nasty. Watch.
Thousands of Americans would be alive today if not for the open border policies of Barack Obama.
They say Donald lacks the foreign policy experience to be president. But in fairness, he has spent years meeting with leaders from around the world. Miss Sweden, Miss Argentina, Miss Azerbaijan.
President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS.
The Donald is not really a plans guy. He's not really a facts guy either.
This is a president who doesn't have a clue.
The guy says stuff that nobody would find tolerable if they were applying for a job at 7-Eleven.
Meanwhile, Obama is endorsing dozens of Democrats and making headlines for who he's backing and who he's not. He's throwing his weight behind a congressional candidate in New Mexico who wants to abolish ICE, and he's snubbing self-proclaimed socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Jesse, is this the election we deserve? A rematch between Donald Trump and Barack Obama?
I would love to see those two debate, wouldn't you? That'd be just a bloodbath right there. I mean, I think the country already rejected a third Obama term when they rejected Hillary Clinton, and Obama doesn't do very well when he's not on the ballot. Remember, he just got shellacked during both midterms during his presidency. And him getting back on the trail activates the Democratic base, but it also reactivates the Republican base. So they're going to be pretty fired up when they see him out there stumping. I don't believe the country wants to look backwards. I think the country wants to look forwards. What we saw during the Obama years were a terrible economy, racial riots, a lot of consternation in the public. There wasn't a lot of good things that were happening, healthcare chaos, et cetera, et cetera. Now we're in a new environment. And for Obama to get back out there, I don't think helps. I think actually hurts the Democrats and gives President Trump a big punching bag. That's a very big target.
It is true that President Trump does well when he has something to punch against. Juan, do you think that Democrats, though, will benefit from President Obama being out on the campaign trail for them?
Tremendously.
Would you like to expand?
60%, 60% plus approval rating, high energy, and we know about his capacity as an orator or just as a campaigner. It's very strong. And then when you think about it, for example, on these endorsements, he has been strategic. He endorses candidates where his endorsement will benefit them. He doesn't endorse, for example, Joe Manchin in West Virginia, which is a strong Trump state. He doesn't endorse Joe Donnelly in Indiana, a strong. So he's picking his spots, and I think he's doing so very well. And also, don't forget, money counts, Dana, in politics, and he's very good at raising money, and he's going to have his supporters and people who think he's still the cat's meow come out. And when you talk about energy or something like Jesse was saying, health care and so forth, healthcare chaos. Healthcare chaos is what we got now, where you see the Trump administration trying to provide these inadequate, subpar plans.
Some
for
people
say,
like
oh,
short-term
that's
plans.
Better.
Tell that to the people that lost their plans when he promised they weren't going to lose their plans.
Let's not argue about it. Just look at what the American people are saying. Trust the American people once. They're saying they want Obamacare.
They voted for Trump
they want
because
Obamacare?
They didn't want that stuff.
No, they voted.
Then why did they vote against Hillary?
Here's what I would say to you. They voted in 2010 in reaction to Obamacare. And remember, it was being belittled and demonized at the time by opponents. But, boy, the American people's attitudes have shifted.
It's a fortune. I mean, that's the problem. I think Republicans have to do a better job. Obamacare was a fortune.
No, I think there's an argument now about single payer.
No, that too. That's even worse.
Okay.
But, I agree with you. I think President Obama does a great job as a campaigner. I think that's his strength. But the problem is he has to campaign now against success. He has to campaign against policies that have worked. He has to look people in the eye whose taxes have gone down, who have less regulation, who have been able to expand their businesses, who have more freedom, where you have an administration who's saying we don't like Obamacare, we want to find out ways to give you opportunities to get the health insurance you decide is right for you. And he has to say, oh, that GDP growth and that decreased taxation, oh, that's all bad. So what is he going to do? He's going to do what he does best, and he's going to pivot to Republicans and Trump hate immigrants, which is a lie. Republicans and Trump hate, all this nonsense that he always does.
She makes a good point, Greg, about is President Obama...
Her name's Jedediah.
Yes, Jedediah. Her, makes a good point. Can President Obama really go out there and talk down the economy? I mean... it's not a good idea to talk down prosperity.
No.
Yes, and we can tell by that montage that we showed that everything Obama said was scripted, everything Trump said was off the cuff. So that's in Trump's favor. Look, I feel bad for the Democrats. It's like they dropped their iPhone in the toilet, so now they went to the junk drawer to get the flip phone. That's Obama. He's the flip phone. They had to get something out of storage to save their party.
It should be more like iPhone 4 and Hillary Clinton.
I'm going to stick. Don't try to screw with my analogies, Dana. That's all I've got going. And how? You know what this is? This is really about time off. The media and the comedians have been working really hard, and they needed a much, much deserved nap. Obama's back in town. They know he's off limits. You can't make jokes about Obama, right? No comedian's going to make any jokes. The media doesn't have to chase Obama around. They don't have to hound him. So basically what Obama is, it's a break for the comedians, and it's a break for the media because they can't joke about him. I don't blame Obama for coming out of hiding. He's basically yesterday's special on the restaurant Blackboard that Trump came out in the morning and erased.
Yeah, so it's happier to have Obama than Clinton out there, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Obama's much better than crooked Hillary, and it sets up a big contrast as opposed to a referendum. If there's no big punching bag or villain for Trump to run against, it's a little more difficult. But when you have Barack Obama out there, the media is going to hoist those two guys back up into the center and make it a cage match. And in terms of the endorsements, from what we're hearing, he only made those endorsements because his former staff members were working for those candidates. I don't know how strategic it was, and I understand why he didn't endorse Cortez. Because if he had done that, that would have created a huge problem with the Democratic Party, because that would have been a major blow to the centrist wing of the party, and they don't need that kind of fight right now going into the midterms.
Maybe he also watched some of her interviews, because I watched them and I wasn't that impressed. No, seriously, I mean, when she's posed with a question as to she has these lofty ideas about, oh, let's give Medicare for all, when you ask her how she's going to pay for it, her answer is absurd. When you ask her about the Israeli-Palestinian crisis, she has no idea what she's talking about. So President Obama, I disagree with him on a lot of things. He's not a stupid guy. I think he's probably worried about that.
Yeah, politically smart non-endorsement.
So I'm curious how you guys pose this. You say, is Obama going to run against the economy? Obama's the guy that saved the American economy. And not only did he save the American economy, at the moment, Jesse, it's Republicans who are not. Oh, you kidding? You must have forgotten. We had a great recession in 2008 that almost wrecked
starting to come
the
out
American
of it
economy.
by the time he took office.
And then, Jesse, it seems to me that this...
So actually,
which everyone said,
Bush saved the economy.
And then Obama said, no, it was me.
Yeah. So. Is that right? I see. I think if you... Let's go back and look at the
So Obama's responsible for everything good, Trump responsible for everything bad. I don't even agree with the reverse. Come on.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying go look at the facts. If you want to go look at the economic arrows and directions coming out of 2008 when Obama was elected first term and what the United States has done since, you'd say, that guy did pretty well.
I would say weakest recession since World War II coming out of.
Because guess what? It was the worst recession.
And usually when they're really bad, the recovery is really good.
I'll tell you that
was very
on the
soft.
economy. Here's the news going into the midterms.
Yes.
Republicans had planned to run on the Trump tax cuts. Everybody is still encouraging Republicans to say, hey, talk about the economy, folks. Forget the demonizing of immigrants. Forget going after the NFL players and playing all those kind of fear cards.
I don't know if you heard the Trump rally the other night. He was talking up the tax cuts pretty big.
Guess what? It's not working, Jesse.
Is it really?
Not only
because
that,
it is working.
it's not that. It's the American
congressional
people
ballot's
who say,
pretty tight, Juan.
The American people say they haven't seen their wages increase.
Who are these American people that you've been talking to, Juan, on the Acela train?
Oh, no. You know what? You should go look at some polls.
I
and
look
just
at polls.
Stop spouting your notes.
No. The funny thing is, you pick and choose polls and overlook ones like the ones about Russian collusion, in which they say they're not interested at all in the babble that you spout.
Oh yeah, let me say they are interested in whether or not this president was having some collusion.
The optimism has never been higher. Optimism has never been higher, and that's not in my notes, Juan.
No, let me just say, why did you see so many Trump officials come out today and say we are actively engaged in trying to stop the Russians from interfering in the 2016 race? It's because, Greg, those people understand the American people do care about the idea of
the polling shows that it's not that issue ranked less than any other issue.
And he wants to talk about Russia because he can't talk about the economy.
Oh, no,
no, honestly, do people have more jobs right now? Are the unemployment numbers down?
Yes.
Okay, the unemployment. Do people have more money in their pockets to put food on their table, provide for their kids? You don't think so?
No.
I talk to people every day that say, you know what, I couldn't get a job 5 years ago, and now I can.
No,
that's what I'm talking about with the economy. If he goes out and he talks about the shrinking unemployment numbers, if he goes out and he talks about providing more opportunities for people with health care or whatever it may be, if he goes out and talks about low taxes and people are feeling those impacts in their pocketbook every day, that's all that matters. Nobody's going to be talking about collusion with Russia, which, by the way, there's been no proof of, if they can't put food on the table for their kids.
Well, I would agree, but I'm just telling you right now, I mean, you don't even have to just say, oh, Democrats think this. Look at what Republican strategists are saying. They would like to get on the economy. They like to pump that up. But what they see is it's not working with the voters. And Trump is talking about, of course, as we saw
I'll leave
at the
you
rally.
with one last headline, not from a fake news article, from CNBC. CNBC says, quote, worker compensation at highest level since 2008.
Yeah,
that's not Fox News.
No,
that's not
fine.
Breitbart. That is CNBC. They know the data.
Correct. And it's what you see is it's a very slow, stagnant.
That's just
wage
a really.
picture.
Juan,
Juan.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. It's just still. It's super hard to try to make that argument.
It isn't hard.
Obama might try to do it, but I think that.
I don't think they're running against the economy. I think they're just saying be realistic. And most Americans, the reason people are frustrated with the economy is they feel they're not getting their fair share.
Those are generalizations that are not proven. Okay. What were you going to say? I want to hear what you were about to say.
About
that he cut you off.
I don't exactly remember.
Juan.
I was just saying that it's hard to make that. The argument that he's trying to make is very hard to make when the headlines across all the papers are that things are better. Right. Optimism feels, but it's like a feeling. So President Trump is going. They're going to have a battle. And you know what? Actually, we don't even know exactly what is going to happen in October. That's always a month when there's big news on all sorts of things.
That's true.
He could have a really good GDP number and a jobs number that month. That could be the talk of the town. There could be some disaster. There could be some, you never know what's going to happen, but I think the president is pretty well positioned going into this debate. I'll give myself the last word.